can't find her. But HIPAA applies. There is a Chinese wall in the middle of the office between the medical and the casework. Okay, and we don't necessarily talk about the casework to the nurse unless it's necessary. Okay?
What was her name again?
Her name is Ann Donahue.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just say something?
Mm-hmm.
I just had, my wife and I just gave birth to 2 little bundles of joy. And knowing the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society just from working with them all these years, my first call was to Mel's folks and to Ann. And Ann comes to our house once a week. And for my wife, she's a typical new mom. And a sneeze can be a trip to Walter Reed. So Ann comes to the house once a month.
Does she?
And she sits with Ray, and she told her how to properly bathe and how to make sure the shape of the head doesn't get flat from sleeping on one side, or all those little things we didn't know because they don't come with an instruction book like a car. But I will tell you, Ann has been a blessing to me and to Raina. So if you have sailors out there, first-time mothers or fathers, by all means.
She's the nicest lady. She really is.
So this is regardless of rank?
Regardless of rank.
Yeah.
Anything we do is regardless of rank.
Yeah.
Babies especially. So we're building her. She started at 20 hours a week last year. She's up to 30. I have no doubt that we'll have a full-time person. It's a much needed. Now, this is not to replace your regular medical care, okay? You will have to sign all the necessary HIPAA information with Ann. If you want her, she's also a great medical translator for, like people my age who go into the doctors and come out with a bag full of, the little brown bags full of little pills. And I go, what did he just say to you? What does this, wait a minute, what are the possible side effects? Just a phone call to her. She'll look it up. She has the desk guides. They don't typically do wound checks, but can. Again, they don't want to, our nurses don't replace, they augment the medical care that you have. And her specialty is peds. That's not to say that she won't go out to our retirees and our widows, because she has. When that's necessary, but please look her up. She's great, and I fought for 16 years to get her in here. So keep her busy so I can keep her. So that's our nursing program. We also have combat casualty nurses in this area. They've been around really since the combat casualty side of the house program started. Back in the early 2000s, unfortunately, they're still in need. They specifically work with our wounded and their families. Wherever the wounded are, the nurses go. So these particular nurses travel all over the country. They go out, they talk, they do a lot of phone work with them. They make sure that they get great medical care while they're at the hospital, and then they go out in the world, and sometimes, especially for those wounds that are not visible, they don't show themselves quite as quickly. And the story I like to tell is actually our director of nursing just retired. We have a new person now. But Ruthie had been the director of nursing for many, many, many years with the organization, and she talks about there was a Marine who was lived out in the middle of nowhere and had kind of slipped off the books. And so Ruthie got a call from Wounded Warrior, the Marine Corps, and said, we haven't found this guy. He's not returning our calls. He's not returning our emails. Can you reach out to him? So they did, and a nurse and the Wounded Warrior rep went out to visit the guy. He had to drive from where he lived to meet them somewhere. And, they stayed for the weekend, met with him every day. and got an email the following week, thank you so much, Mrs. Moore, for sending somebody out, because if I hadn't seen them on Friday, I was going to kill myself on Saturday. So again, a service that is really immeasurable to our shipmates. I want to leave on a higher note than that. We also have a Quick Assist Loan program, and for our active duty, that's the one they know us about. It's the no questions asked loan. This was really a program that was started by the society rather reluctantly. It's turned into the biggest program that we have. It was an answer to the payday lending issue and predatory lending issue. How many think that that has been resolved? So not, okay? Lots of protections for active duty and their families in brick and mortar establishments, but the internet knows no bounds. So what this is it's up to $500. There's no appointment necessary. The service member only. Family members cannot come in and apply for this. It has to be the active duty. They have to have an LES, whether it's printed or on their cell phone. I don't care, but I don't have CAC readers. It is not possible for them to pull it up in our office. And like you all have the security about somebody going on your computer, so do we. So they can pull it up on their phone, they can provide me or a printed copy, either one's fine, with the ID card. There are some checks that we do. You cannot have an open loan with the organization and get a Quick Assist loan. Doesn't mean you can't get help, you just can't get the Quick Assist loan. Okay? You have to have at least 4 months left on your EAOS ETS as it appears on the LES. Extensions don't work for this program. Reenlistments don't work unless they've been executed. Just because you put the chit in doesn't mean that the command's going to let you stay. Okay? So they have to be executed. Reservists that are on ADSW or MOB are eligible for the Quick Assist loan. ADT and some of the others are eligible in limited during regular casework, but for the Quick Assist loan, you have to be on ADSW or Title 10. And we will ask for the orders, okay? You come in, you fill out an application, it's got 3 questions on it. You're in and out of the office in about 10 minutes. Okay, and that's for those things like, you know what, something happened and now I can't pay the cell phone bill, it's a couple $100, I don't want to spend an hour or an hour and a half coming in because I need a couple $100 for a cell phone bill. That's the reason for the program, is to take care, make it quick and easy to take care of those small things that do come and pop up. Okay. I think I've pretty much covered everything. Does anybody have any questions for me? Go ahead.
Me?
Did you
Okay.
have one?
Yeah, I did. So I believe we've talked in the past, a couple of years ago, if you have, or if a spouse is having some domestic abuse issues and needs to be able to relocate, does your office still provide? Because you didn't address that, so I just want to
Okay.
mention that.
Thank
And our
you for bringing
assembly,
that up.
like earlier in the year, we
Had an
a-
issue.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, no, I'm sorry. At this assembly, we were presented earlier in the year with child abuse, sexual abuse, so
Okay.
that's a tie-in.
So, if you have a family member that is being abused, and this is verified abuse, this is the one time the service member is not involved. We do not notify the service member. We do work very closely with Fleet and Family and the command. Okay, so we're not going to split a family up on hearsay. We will get the spouse and children out of Dodge. Okay? We call it a welcome home in abuse cases. We are going to call and make sure that there's a home for them to be welcomed to. The frying pan to the fire is not our objective here. We want to get them someplace safe. There are always extenuating circumstances in these cases where maybe they can't go home, they have to stay in the area, or whatever the case may be. We address those, everything individually. I have taken the training, so I know about reported and unreported and all of that stuff, and we'll work within it. I hate it when they're unreported because our hands start to get tied. But we will help that family member leave. And we do not talk to the service member. It is a grant. We don't expect anybody to pay us back. Okay? There is another thing that we do. How many of you have ever hit a re-enlistment and had your pay messed up? Okay. We have what's called a CO verified pay issue. So service member doesn't get paid, it's an admin issue. A garnishment is a pay issue to the service member, but it's not a pay issue. You got overpaid, they're taking it back. Okay? We address that differently in regular casework, and we look at the whole situation. But if you're not getting paid, it's not your fault. Paperwork got lost in the shuffle. With a letter from the COXO CMC division head, we can help with up to that pay period's pay. And then we expect when they get their pay back that they come and pay us in full. Simple. Okay. Other than the abuse, if it's a spouse that's coming into our office, we need the service member's permission. Okay? Please, I'm going to tell you right now, I have a little or no tolerance for somebody who just doesn't feel like it. The service member is our client. He or she can come into the office with the spouse. Sometimes that's not possible, but in this area, not very often. It's not like we're with ships and a lot of deployments and stuff like that. All right, but the service member does have to give us permission to assist before we can do that, because whose pay is being affected? It's the service member's pay. I saw some other people had questions.
I just had a question, and it's based on somebody being a habitual abuser of the program.
Abuser? No, user. User.
But where's the threshold?
It's really different. It depends on the circumstances. It really does. If we see somebody continually coming in, unwilling to make any lifestyle changes, unwilling to take the advice that we're giving them, there is a policy. It's called the mismanagements, but people unwilling to help themselves. We do require community involvement at the third one. If they don't allow the command to be involved, well, then we make our decision from there. We do draw our line in the sand. I don't want to see anybody hungry. I don't want to see any service family on the street. But there are resources in the community that people don't like to utilize that I may suggest that they utilize. There's food banks out there. But sometimes they may come to see us 4 or 5 times in a year because of a situation that's been going on in that year. That's not somebody who's trying to, it's somebody who's trying to get themselves out of a situation. So as long as we see that, we're going to work with the families. We're going to work with the families and help them through that process. Any other questions? No? Okay, well, thank you for having me. Again, I'm at the Navy Yard. The number there for that office is 202-433-3364. I've got a bunch of business cards. I'll put them over on that have my email and the phone number for my office. Please, reach out. Don't ever think that, well, the society really isn't going to help with that. You don't know. That ID card gives everybody the right to come in and tell their story. Okay? And darn it, we're going to try and find a way to help it get resolved, whether it's with our check or getting resources from somewhere else. We want to make sure that our people are safe, healthy, and our men and women in uniform can do their jobs and not have to worry. So, thank you.